Is there any way we could know whether or not our interpretation of the book of Revelation makes sense? Welcome to this, your daily 180 Bible study. The last couple of days we looked at the idea of the time frame. Remember this, and I would encourage you to write these verses down. Revelation 1 verse 1, 1 verse 3, 22:6, and 22:10 tell us that it was going to happen within the time frame of the original recipients. The time, it will shortly take place. The time is near. It will shortly take place. The time is at hand. And there's something else when you think about that within the time frame of those original recipients. I want you to look at chapter 1, verse number 4. John to the 7 churches which are in Asia. And he goes on and he says, grace to you and peace from him who was and who is to come, from the 7 spirits who are before his throne. And so there are 7 literal historical churches that are going to be written to. We see that he's going to write to the church at Ephesus, the church at Smyrna, the church at Pergamos, the church at Thyatira, the church at Sardis, the church at Philadelphia, and the church at Laodicea. These are 7 literal historical churches. Now, someone might want to make them into figurative churches, but there's no evidence in the Scripture that we should symbolize these churches. There are things that are definitely symbolic in the book, and there are indications of what that is. But we have a wealth of historical information about the church at Ephesus, for instance. We can go to Acts chapter 19 and read about the origins of that church and about the early days of that church at Ephesus. We can go to the book of Ephesians and read about it. And in Revelation chapter 2, we read about real problems they were facing at the church at Ephesus. Now, what does this mean? If the book is written to 7 literal historical churches, here's the principle. If whatever interpretation we come up with would not make sense to them, then it doesn't make sense. Someone says, did you know that Adolf Hitler and Saddam Hussein and stealth bombers were in the book of Revelation? Really? Would that make any sense to the original recipients of the book? And furthermore, remember we just read that it's supposed to be grace and peace. Would that put them at comfort to know, well, you know, we're really under harsh persecution right now from the Roman government, but one day, 2,000 years from now, the Allied forces will destroy Adolf Hitler. Not only would it not make any sense to them, it would be nonsensical. There would be no comfort for them. Whatever it means, it would have to mean something to them. Join us again.